Hey there, this is Natalie, and welcome to my very first late night radio style Attack on Titan video. Yes, the cheesy sound of my smooth DJ voice, combined with the best in royalty-free lounge music, is no longer reserved just for ReZero, and I'll now be helping you get through several minutes of the long winter night with Attack on Titan content too. I am working on making some Attack on Titan themed outfits for my avatar, but they're not finished yet, so I'm dressed up in a nice Christmassy evening dress for tonight's session. During my big rewatch marathon of all of seasons 1 to 3 of Attack on Titan, which I've been doing as well as rereading the manga up to the current point, ready to start adding Attack on Titan as the second series I cover in depth on my channel, I began to think about some of the sweet characters from seasons 1 to 3 who feel a little bit underrated. Some of the characters on this list are ones who don't really get talked about much at all, whereas others are ones I think do get remembered and acknowledged, but just perhaps not as much as they deserve, or they're remembered for just one or two things when they actually had a lot more impact than that. For this list, I will just be talking about the existing 3 seasons of the anime, so there won't be any spoilers from the manga for the final season of Attack on Titan, though I will probably need a whole new list just for Attack on Titan Season 4 later on. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more Attack on Titan content as I make it, including analysis type videos of the series overall, as well as coverage of the final season. Or definitely subscribe if you like ReZero, because I already have close to 100 ReZero videos covering the anime, the web novel, and lots of my crackpot theories. And I will be continuing to put out regular ReZero content alongside my new Attack on Titan stuff. I'd really like to get to 2,000 subs by Christmas, so I would really appreciate the love. And with that YouTuber nonsense out of the way, let's get to this smooth late night list of 5 underrated characters from the Attack on Titan anime, in no particular order, starting with Connie Springer. Connie probably gets the least attention of all of the surviving characters who were part of Eren, Mikasa and Armin's generation of cadets, the 104th Training Corps. Sure, he has never turned out to have anything important and special about him like Historia, Annie, Ymir, Bertholt and Reiner, but he does seem to be one of the most easily forgotten of even the rest of the characters, much more so than Jean and Sasha, who also aren't in possession of any secret enemy status or royal blood. This is despite the fact that Connie does have an interesting plotline going on around him, which does have some questions around it that remain unanswered going into the final season, in the form of the storyline of his village and his mother. When the Survey Corps attempted to evacuate Connie's former home, a village called Ragako in Season 2, the place was found to have been destroyed by Titans, but strangely there was no blood or human remains. One female-looking Titan remained on top of a house, where its legs were malformed and it couldn't stand, which naturally raised the question of how it got there in the first place. At first, Connie wanted to believe that the villagers had escaped, though all of their horses were still in the stables. But there was something about that malformed female Titan that reminded him of his mother. She even seemed to speak, saying, "Welcome home." Connie's village was later investigated by Hanji, and this was the first real confirmation she was able to get that Titans were previously human, because it seemed the immobile Titan in the village really was Connie's mother. As of the end of Season 3, the Titan is still alive, and Connie would like to discover a way to reverse whatever process happened to his mother, though we still don't know exactly how or why the people of Connie's village were turned into Titans in the first place. With this interesting plotline on the go, perhaps Connie will become a more prominent character in the next season. Next, we have Commander Dott Pixis. Pixis doesn't get a huge amount of screen time, but due to his role as commander of the garrison, the decisions he makes throughout the series are always ones that affect our main characters significantly, and he's shown to be a really interesting character, with both a sharp and rational mind and a good sense of humour. Dott Pixis is good at the political side of things within the wall, and manages to appreciate the finer things in life that come with his position without losing his decency. The first time we see him, he's abandoning a game and drinks with a doughy aristocrat to deal with the Titan emergency, and his biting way of handling the man's pleas for Pixis to stay and protect him gives a very good introduction to his character. Though probably the best Pixis scene comes in an OVA, when he instigates a cooking competition between Sasha and John as a way to solve a dispute between them while they're both still in the training corps. The sequence of him enjoying Sasha's wild boar with some of his favourite wine is straight out of an over-the-top food anime, showing him shooting through the sky in bliss at the taste, while everybody else turns into a titan beneath him for no adequately explored reason. Third on my list may come as a surprise, because he's not a character lacking in screen time or attention, but I still feel like he gets pretty overshadowed considering how big his role in things is, and that is Bertholt. Yes, in his colossal titan form, he is one of the most iconic and recognisable things from the entire series, but in his human form, Bertholt tends to take second place in people's interest to Reiner. While the pair of them were undercover, Reiner was the one who seemed the most dependable and engaged with the other members of the training corps, and we later find out that Reiner's mind has essentially been broken as a result of everything that's happened, leading him to sometimes truly believe he is a soldier and a true friend to the others. This led to some kind of heartbreaking moments, like Reiner looking at the scene of Marco being eaten and questioning why it was happening, even though just moments before, he, Bertholt and Annie had taken Marco's 3D maneuver gear. Bertholt does have some interesting aspects to him, like his clear love for Annie, which Armin tries to use against him twice, once successfully. But in most scenes with the Titan shifters in human form, Reiner or Annie do steal the attention. Next up is a character everyone remembers, but who does tend to be reduced down to a meme or comic relief character, making the more serious and complex aspects of her feel underappreciated. It's Sasha Blouse. Sasha's obsession with food is pretty funny, and it is good to have the levity of things like her needing to be tied up to avoid her eating everything in sight at the party the night before the fateful mission to make it to Eren's basement. In a story where things get as bleak as they do in Attack on Titan at times, it's important to have some of these kinds of interactions between friends to remind us that these are people worth saving, rather than grim, doomed, depressing characters who only know misery, after all. But there's a lot more to Sasha than just that. Her past as a hunter gives her some extremely useful survival and marksmanship skills that make her an asset in any team, and her backstory as someone who abandoned the way of life she'd always known to become somebody useful to humanity, even causing her to learn to speak in a way that hid her rural accent so people wouldn't make fun of her. I also find her love of meat highly relatable. As a character who is still alive as of the end of Season 3, it will be good to see if Sasha gets some more development or some big moments that show off the less comical side to her as a cast member, though I expect her funny moments will still be needed to offset some of the intense stuff that's no doubt waiting in the final season. Finally, we have Commander Erwin Smith. While I was rewatching the anime, I came to really appreciate this character. He shows us that relying on gambles sometimes pays off, but unlike most characters in stories who take these kind of high-risk, high-reward approaches, there are times when Erwin's plans don't work out. He's also at times a really good audience surrogate. Yes, he seems like a weird character to view that way, given his authority within the story's world, but Erwin is the character who is just as obsessed with finding out what's in Eren's basement and what the truths of the Titans and the world are as we become. He keeps the story moving in the direction of revealing those secrets and having someone in a position of power in the world that wants to open the mystery box and get to the big reveal that we're anticipating, stops the time between the mystery being established and the basement being opened from feeling frustrating. It stops the other things that happen from feel like they're distracting the characters from getting to where we want them to be. Erwin was also important in setting up one of the tensest and most difficult scenes in the anime so far, when Levi was forced to decide whether to save him or Armin by turning one of them into a titan who could eat Bertholt and become the new colossal titan shifter. I'm planning to make a video going deeper into that decision soon. Erwin isn't underrated in the sense that people forget who he is. He's integral to most of the major plot lines and events in the first 3 seasons. However, he isn't a character people talk about anywhere near as much as Levi or Hanji, and I think he's actually one of the best and most interesting characters in this phase of the story. So, what do you guys think? I tried to make this list a bit more interesting than just going for the characters who tend to be forgotten, but who really were only ever intended to be smaller side characters, like Marlowe and Hitch, or poor Marco. Which is why I picked some people like Bertholt and Erwin, who are not overlooked, but who I feel get overshadowed in discussions of the story by other characters with similar or even less impact on the plot. But I'm sure you can think of plenty of characters who could have been on this list but weren't, so please let me know in the comments. If you were wondering why Jean isn't on the list when he tends to generally be considered the most underrated character, well, I have a whole video planned talking about him and why I feel like having his role downplayed so far in the story is actually quite an interesting choice from a writing perspective. So honestly, I think Jean being underrated is an intentional thing, and actually makes him a better contrast to Eren. So that's all from me for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again very soon for more Attack on Titan.